Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this tutorial, we create this login page here, and we're going to use free software, which a link you can find in the description to create along with me. Also, you can download the complete login thing here, this HTML here, in the description below. All right, so let's begin the design process. So like I said, go into the link in the description and click to go to the software that I am using here. It's free, of course. So I'm going to open a new tab. I'll use the local version of this software because this is software I created for creating HTML pages. All right, but you can use the online version. All right, so what I'm going to do first is let's make a comparison here. So I'm going to create a background. I'll create this background thing here, and then we'll add these two divs here. Maybe let's start with one of these over here. So let me go and let's do that. So I'm going to click add element, and let's go to the empty slide here and click background like so. Okay, now the width of the background is the width of the viewport, the height. Now if you can't see this, just click on properties here. The height is 100 VH, but what I want to do is give it a height of 100%. Actually, for now we can leave it there. What we can do instead is change the background image. So I'll click on image down here, and there's this BG image over there. So let's look for illustrations here. Now of course you can select any of these. I will be adding more images to this list over time whenever I get some time. But for now, let's look for what we've got. There's this one here. So we click on that. You can see the background here repeating. Now I can click and drag the properties panel around like this so I can see better. So you see it's repeating. So what I want to do here in the same area, I'll click background repeat. Let's just repeat it in the y-axis, not this side. And as you can see here now it's empty, but we can change the background size to 100. Now this is 100 pixels, but let's click on percent like that. All right, so that does it. Great. Now you can always change the background position by just adding some numbers in here. For example, I can put maybe -100 to move it up a little bit like that, or -200. You can also move it in the x-axis. This is for the y-axis, but let's click on the x to remove that CSS. Now, and of course, any item you have selected, the styles are down here, so you can really see what's going on with the styles. If you look down here, and if there's a style that you don't like, you can simply just delete it. Okay. So what these parts do is simply create styles down here for whatever item is currently selected. Now let's add a new element. Make sure the background we just added is selected. Let's add an empty div instead. So there it is. Now while this background is still selected, let's add some padding around it. Let's add maybe 20 pixels like that. Let's also change its display to flex so that let's go here, we say display flex. Let's enable flex wrap. Now, in order to select, since wrap is already selected, let's select just any of the others, and they should go back to wrap. That way it can wrap objects around, move them to the next line if they're too many to fit in one line. Let's justify content to the center. There it is. Okay, great. Now with that, let's click on this guy. Now here we can just click and drag these to enlarge the thing like so. Now let's go to, I should make sure this is not selectable. I should change that code. Anyway, so with width here, let's put specific values like 300 pixels. Let's go to the height. I'm going to change that to 550. Specific values there. Let's go to border radius and let's add maybe 30 pixels so that it's rounded on the corners like this. Let's add a border. I'll add a border with 2 pixels and make sure it's completely white. So select that white color. And there it is. And now let's select this again. Let's make sure our background color, first of all, the color, the text color should be black. Let's go to the background color. Let's add complete white over there. And with that, now I can click here and adjust the opacity like that, so that at least we can see what's on the back, like so. Great. But we want this to be blurry in the background, so I'm going to add a property eventually for doing that. But for now, let's go into the styles and just type in there. So put the cursor at the end of the styles and let's add a property called backdrop dash filter. So that's what you do in case the style you're looking for isn't there on the list above here. You can simply type it in there. So after the full colon, let's put blur, open and close bracket, and let's put a semicolon at the end, never forget that. But inside the brackets, let's put 5 pixels. And as you can see now, the image there is blurry in the background wherever this is passing through. Okay, great. Now while this is selected, let's add an element. In this case, let's go to components and add an image like so. Select the image. Let's go to width. Let's make sure it's 100 there, %. That's it. And let's go to the border radius as well. Let's give it 30%. Now the gap between the image and the outside is quite big, so let's select the main thing here. Let's go to padding and let's put that at 5 pixels instead. This image is not long enough, so I'm just going to click and drag it like so. Great. Now I want to add the same exact image that's on the background into this one. So while this image thing is selected, let's go ahead and click on the image side. Click here where it says image. And let's select exactly the same image we used for our background. So let's see here. And there it is. Where is that? There it is. Goody. Looking great. Now let's select the main thing here. Let's add an H1 tag. Let's also make sure while this thing is selected, let's make sure we select the text align to center. And let's type welcome. Wait a second. What did we type on the other one? Let me see okay, it's welcome. Great. So that's what it is. Welcome. Then let's add some other div here with text. So div text, make sure this is the thing that's selected here. Now in the div text here, let's add some dummy text in there. Now I'm tempted to copy this, but sometimes it doesn't copy over very well. Oh, maybe it can. Let's just try that. Or a better way to do it is to open the lorem ipsum website. It's called lipsum.com, and just copy some dummy text here because that's how we do it. And let's go back to our project and let's paste that text there like so. A little too much text, so I'm just gonna delete some of it. Now we want to add 2 buttons at the end, so make sure the main div is selected. So I'm just going to say add and add button. Click add element again. Now this closes when you add an item. Now if you don't want that behavior, you can go to view. Let me click button again. You can go to view and say, where is this? Auto close item loader. If you untick that, then you can add several items without it closing until you click the close button. All right, so here we get to choose whether we're using the login or are we on the sign up page. So let's click in there to edit. So let's say sign up. Righty then. Now I want to give these guys a few, maybe I can put that here. Let's put a margin bottom down here. So on margin bottom, let's add some numbers. Make sure it's in the positive direction, of course, and it's in M's. So that's 2M. There we go. And maybe a fixed width. So let's go to width and give that 100 pixels. Same as this one, 100 pixels. Let's make this one look a bit more grayed out, like it's not active. So first of all, I'll change the text color to black. Let's go to the background color and let's change that to some kind of gray, like so that it looks kind of grayed out. Let's do the same thing here. Let me see what colors we used over on the original one. Okay, so there's a greenish color there. So the text itself is white. Let's go to this greenish, darker green, like so. Not really sure this is it, but yeah, somewhere there. So play around with it and you find your match there. Now, of course, because you can download the final source code, you can grab the exact colors from that and add them here. So I think the first part is done. So I'm just going to select the entire div here and then go to edit and say duplicate. Now, as you can see, once I duplicate this, they're too close together. So I can select both of these main divs. Don't mind this selection, the way it's doing that. Let's add some margin of maybe 10 pixels. Now it's 10M, I guess. So I'm just going to click on M and back to pixels. For some reason, it went to M's and stuff. So maybe, I don't know, you can choose maybe 15, maybe 10. I think that's all right. Maybe 10 is okay. Let's go to this side now. Let me select this image. Let's just click that delete over there to remove that. And what else we need? I need to edit this button. This one we do not need at all. And here we have the login. Let's add login over there. Here we can say welcome back or something with an exclamation point. Okay, so with that, let's add some inputs, right? So let's select this main thing. Let's click add element and I'm gonna go to inputs. For now, I will select in the view and say remove the auto close loader. That way I can add a few items. So say add element. Let's go to inputs. Here I'm going to add an input field. So that's added. Let me add also a select input. That's added. And let's add a link as well. So back to components, let's add a link. And let's then add an empty div. Yeah, I think that does it. Let me close that for now. So this is what we've got. So an input, select, link, and finally an empty div. Okay, so I want to move this to the bottom. Actually, maybe not so far to the bottom, but let me right click on this and say move to the bottom, and there it is. Let me move it up one step. There we go. Now it's in the same line with the link text. So what I want to do instead is change its display to block so that it gets the entire line. It's already on block, but let me put it on any other and put it back on block. Now it's no longer in the center because it's not inline anymore, but we can say inline block. No, that doesn't work. So back on block. Let's just go to margin here and give it a auto margin so it's in the center. Let's give it a margin top as well. A few M's here. So 1 M looks okay, I guess. This div down here, what I want to do is go to the width, erase the width by clicking on the X over there, and then I will add some margin at the top as well, just a few M's. That's 1 M there. This one will hold the icons. So then I'm gonna go to, what can I do with this? I can say display flex as well on this div, display flex, and then justify content center, align items center as well, so that everything in here is centered. So I will click add and go to icons and just add any icon, doesn't matter. I'll add 3 of them 3 times, and there it is. Now these guys I can select using the shift key to select all of them, and then add some margin. So let's add a little bit of margin like so. 1 pixel did the job for some reason. Let me select this. Let's remove all the padding on this. That doesn't help at all. Okay, that's all right. Oh, this thing has a fixed height, so let me remove that. And if I want, I could reduce the height like so. Then let me remove the background color entirely. And yeah, that seems to do it. Now I want the, what do I want here? Now you can change the color of this div, which will in turn change the color of the icons, I guess. So this is entirely up to you what color you want to use for the icons. Now, instead of using transparency, let me just use a gray there, like so. Maybe that gray, or maybe that one. So it's up to you, really. Let me click on this icon though, and go to images side here. Click on icon here, and then I can search for an icon that I want. These icons are brought to you by Bootstrap. So Facebook, let me select this other one and click on it, and that's Twitter. Okay, and select this other one, and the icon is maybe YouTube. Okay, awesomeness. Now this one, let's see here, the width for this one, let's see what we did. I think that width is 100%, so click on percent instead, like so. Great. Then let's add some border radius to make it rounded. Let's put 30, like that. Let's change this background color to some kind of orange, like so. Alright, so great, things are looking up. Here on the login, I want to add a margin at the top. So margin top here, let's add a few M's. It's in pixels, let's move it to M so that it moves faster. I think that's about right. 3 M's will do the job. Now these inputs, I don't want them with labels like this. So what I can do is I could delete these other stuff, but what I'm going to do instead is right click on the input and say cut element, so it's out of there. Select this main div and say paste. Where is that? Paste element, and there it is. So then I can delete this original container like that. So I'll do the same thing with the select. I will cut the element, right click on this main div and paste like so. Then I can delete that label. The link here, I can just click in there to type, and this one is forgot password with a question mark. Yeah, that's about it. Now let me edit these two guys. So I can shift select both of them. What I want to do is add some margin, but only on the top and bottom. So I'll go margin top 1. Let's use M's, they are faster. I'll do 1M. Can simply type like that, and margin bottom 1M as well. While we're at it, we can add some padding here, maybe 10, not M's but pixels. Let's add border radius of 30. Maybe the padding is too little. Let's add 15 maybe. Okay, great. Doing great. All right, now you can always close the properties panel for a moment. Let's click on this side. Yeah, now for some reason, I don't know what's going on here. The selection is oddly... Okay, there you go. I just clicked on the thing, the outside of the whole selector here. Now you could click on the tree to activate the tree and select something. Let's see, where is the tree? There it is. That way you can select an item and it will show up in the tree with its children. But I think something is malfunctioning here. These are bugs I should fix, of course. Yeah, seems like the tree. Okay, I can say select parent. That seems to have reset it. Then you can see what items are children of whatever item you've selected. So as you can see here, as I hover on these, it actually highlights them over here to show you what is inside. In case you're wondering, maybe there's a div within a div and so on, you can check them out over the tree here. But let's close it for now, we don't need it. So then I want to put a placeholder here. So I'll click properties back. Let me just move it over here. And let's go to the input section here. Now remember that everything you select, there are styles down here that you can edit if you want directly without having to fiddle with these items here. So the placeholder here will be email. As you can see there, it shows. You can also change the name of the input to suit your needs. That's email. The select here will be named. Maybe this you can use for gender. I have no idea. Placeholder doesn't really matter here because it won't really show anyway, but we can always add it there. Then I want to duplicate this one. I'll right click and say duplicate. So there's email, and this one should change to password. We change both the name and the placeholder. You can also change its type to password here so that it shows dots instead of actual text when you're typing in there. So let me close that properties thing for a while. And I want to move these guys. So, excuse me, I'm gonna select this. Oh, now this one is obstructing the friend. Anyway, I could move these one at a time. It's not a big deal. Say move up, and move up like that. Let's do the same for this one. So I'm right clicking and saying move up, move up, move up, like that. Okay. So it doesn't look like there's enough space for things here. So let me move the margin top for this guy. Let's go to margin. It's at 3M, so let's move it to 2Ms, like that. Much better. Maybe margin bottom for this one as well is 2Ms. Let's put 1M instead. There we go. All right, so looking great so far. Very nice. So now instead of having this div here, could have used a form instead. So, but when you're actually trying to use this, you should probably convert this div into a form. Since the classes will be the same, it will still look the same even after the conversion. So anyway, with this in mind, the only thing remaining, you could end here. It looks pretty good. But in case you want to add this bending here, let's just add it real quick. I think I rotated it like 10 degrees. So I'll select that, go to properties, and let's go to the transform section. And down here there's a rotate. Just click in there and use the ball on your mouse to just add whatever rotation you want. So it's minus 10 degrees. My ball isn't performing as it should. Then you can also move the translate in the y-axis. Maybe it's too high, you want to bring it down, just start adding some numbers there. Let's put another 10 there, so that for even, round even numbers. So 10 minus 10 rotation and translation in the y, 10 pixels. All right, and with that in mind, we are done. Now with this, you can simply click on File and say Preview Page, like so. Preview, open in new tab. Thank you very much. And there it is. So we have our login page over here. All right, so hopefully you have learned something on how to create this. And like I said, you can check the properties of any of these items by just selecting it, click on properties, and then you can go to the styles to see exactly what styles are driving each and every item that is in the picture here. And then of course you can save this. Just go to save and type in a name there and save it. Now this is already saved on my end, so I won't save it again. You will see the name change over here once you save it. It's a good idea to save so you don't lose your work. All right, so you can of course download the final project in the link in the description. Oh, and before I go, I almost forgot, you can export this by clicking on File and going to Download. So click Download like this. Okay, so it's going to download a zip file. So I'm going to click on that zip file. Let's extract that zip to its folder so that we see what's inside. And in here you get two files and one folder. So the assets are all in here. If you go in the assets, you check the images used are in here. So there's only one image, of course. There are fonts used in there. That's the font. There's some CSS, some Bootstrap CSS and fonts there. Great. Some styles, the original style. If we try and open this, let me open this with Notepad. You'll see that this is what you get here. You can go through the CSS. It's well formatted so that it's easy to see, but the classes are just named with numbers like this. You can always change these as long as you change them in your HTML file as well. So back to the main folder, you see there's an index.html. If you just double click on that, it opens the actual HTML file in your browser like this. So that's how you grab that thing for actual use. So you're free to use this for commercial or personal use. It doesn't matter. It's all free. All right, so I will see you in another tutorial.